Retail and street animation. As I alluded to before, the city, and actually most people who live in Vancouver, would quicken their pace when they walked up Seymour Street because, or Richard Street was just parkades. It was like a dismal place, a hideous place, because it was just parkades. And then on Seymour, Telus didn't do a great job of actually giving us a really animated street wall. You drive by now and it's the critter of the week. They're animals up there. They're exciting for the first 1 or 2 times you pass, but after that they lose their charm. So that was the City of Vancouver Parkade, and that was the Telus Parkade. Oh, and there's the critters. Not too stimulating. So what we were able to do is look at this a block wide. We were able to actually animate this much more than it was. This shows the blue is actually what was there commercially before, kind of a dead zone. The yellow is what we're proposing. In fact, we're also proposing to do CRUs off the lane because I said it was Vancouver's most beautiful lane. We are doing a public art proposal for this, and right now there's an artist that we're using out of quite a famous artist from Scotland that I can't remember his name, and we're doing lanterns down the lane. So there will be a public art installation. The hope is that they'll use the lane. We're building infrastructure for markets. There's a wine bar. We've got rid of that loading bay. There's actually a wine bar there now. So something very similar to Melbourne, where they're starting to use their lanes. Very similar to Salt in Gastown. So we're kind of trying to utilize everything, animate everything, try to look at things differently. Public art urban theater. It does get dark here, and we thought that it would be nice to actually start to animate the building a little bit at night. Vancouver's very conservative. You go to other parts of the world, they're a little bit more liberal with their lights. We do have the photovoltaics on the roof only to compensate for some of this public art, or public lighting, architectural lighting. All of it's LED. And all of it's programmable. The LEDs, or the photovoltaics at night, will be lit up. The underside of the bar, when you drive under it, there are LED nodes every 6 inches, and they're programmable, so everyone's programmable color and intensity. So you could actually program it to have an image float across. And the city wanted that because they really think if you're going to allow us to cantilever over the street, then you've got to do something. That's about $1 million in lights just on underside of that bar. And then this pavilion, we're going to light that up with programmable LEDs as well. I can't tell you what we're doing with this building. We're kind of changing our concept with that a little bit with respect to lighting. But the media, we do have a media facade, and we're still talking to the city about that because after, I guess, BC Place and that big LED monitor, nobody's very receptive to outdoor kind of visual. This is actually a pull-down projector screen that will come down, and we back project on it, so we'll actually have the resolution will be that of a movie screen. So we could actually play movies and maybe put sound, and the city won't like this, but we could actually put sound, there's speakers in the pavilion, so we could actually play movies. The idea is, and there's agreement with the city that, if Canada Day, we would put a flag there, or the Sun Run, we could post announcements. So it actually, this becomes part of the city, part of the public backdrop of the city. Building tectonics. Now, I rambled on about this project at the scale of the city and the scale of the block. But what makes the building is actually how it's put together with tectonics, which is really the art of construction. I'll just quickly go through some of these. The pavilion itself. It's kind of a strange thing, this pavilion. We had a number of different designs. When we were working with Darren Entwistle, the CEO of Telus, we had a number of design charrettes, and he came back, and we have a very modern building, and for some reason he came back and said, I want this pavilion to be, he'd say, Gothic Norwegian. I'm serious. And this is our interpretation of West Coast Gothic Norwegian. But it is a very sculptural thing, and we're using a Douglas fir, locally grown, certified. This thing literally spans from Richard Street all the way over to Seymour. We're overwhelmed with the scale of this thing. That that spine is 2-inch plate steel in a V or in a triangle. It's about this high. The thing, it just spans from one side. Once again, we actually had to get a fire truck underneath it. That's why it arches like that. It becomes the lobby itself. This is a water screen, so that water will wash across it. So at night, we have reflection of the lights down on the surface of the plaza. We have some water features here. You can see the glass. We're going to print an image on the glass. We're working on that now. We're actually getting it printed in Spain, of all places. You can see the sculptural form of these glulam ribs. Everything is CNC. This was kind of really interesting for me in respect that it's the first time that we've literally, we had to design this in 3D. We couldn't get our minds around how to build this thing. So we built it in 3D. And then we couldn't figure out actually how to go get a contract for this. So, because 2D drawings just didn't work, right, to explain it. So we actually, for the first time in our office, we gave a CAD file and said, there's a 3D model in it, bid on that. And it's been wonderful because we've been working with the trades, starting with George 30 & Sons for the steel. They took our model, rebuilt it out of steel for their shop drawings in 3D, and then that was passed on to Structureland, who's doing the ribs, and they're plugging in their 3D portion of it. And then the glass itself is actually done by Echo Glass. It's all been calculated in 3D. We did a mock-up of this in the shop just to make sure it went together. The glass was manufactured in China, came back, and it fit like a glove. Like everything was engineered, like it was all designed in computers. It actually worked. We were blew us away. You can see it there as it transforms from a covered outdoor area to the lobby itself, and all the structural glass. I think the thing that's going to be amazing about this project is the amount of structural glass we're using. And some of the areas we're using it, we're not only using it in the lobby, but we're using it in the Sky Garden. This is a detail of the facade. You can actually start to see some of this go up right now. There's glass fins on the side of the building. It adds a wonderful texture. It gives us some solar shading on as well. You can see the operable windows and the frit. Look at this image and then go down to site if you found yourself at the size of that space. This space is gigantic, and you see it on this facade. It's very exciting. And this is the Bartlett cantilevers on over top. These are actually boardrooms that cantilever, Telus boardrooms that cantilever over the street within this double height space. This is all structural glass. We had to design this for an earthquake with an interstory drift of 16 millimeters, meaning that the aggregate total of all that glass and their glass fins holding up a glass, piece of structural glass, had to move to, in theory, 250 millimeters. So that in an earthquake, that has to stay stable and in place with an interstory drift of that much. Once again, we couldn't do this without computers. We could, but it would take you a long time. You can see the idea of the bar. We really wanted this to read like a bridge. We had to put the steel on the outside. This is the residential tower. Once again, we have these thin elements on the outside to provide some solar shading on the east facade. And I'll wrap up with some images that we do have. These are not real. These are images. Obviously, it's not built. You can see it there. The Northwest Sky Garden, the facades, the bridge, pavilion. This is it from the other side. A portion of this is already built now. You can actually start to see some of this, the photovoltaics. This is the pavilion as it slides through the double columns, the size of the sky balcony, the structural glass. This is, so if you build, beautiful people will come. I know, they were attracted by the ad. This is walking on Georgia Street. There is a water feature that goes from inside to outside. There will be a piano. This is a specially designed piano. The V column holding up the piano is actually the same as the V column concrete. There'll be a piano player playing. You'll be walking into this lobby. It's not going to be like any other office lobby. The piano will be playing, and they'll mic it out into the plaza as well. This is the outside. This is the scale of the pavilion. We have a skylight that lights a space below. This is the end of the lane. This is actually going to be a Global. I told you about that. They actually have 3 different restaurants in the entire block. They're actually doing the wine bar as well. You can see that this thing moves inside to outside. This is inside the lobby. It is Telus Garden. We currently are torturing some fig trees in Florida as we speak, literally to acclimatize them to, from sunny Florida to Vancouver. They actually have to start to cover them over. They have to lose their leaves, and then they give the quality of light that we would have in Vancouver. So they starve them with light so they get acclimatized them. So these poor trees in Florida are like, what the hell happened? You can see a wall of water washing down, these little glass boxes that poke out. Telus will actually have a TV station in there. This is looking at the other end, the water feature, the fire shutters, the piano, the arch, the indoor pool. Progress. These are some photographs we've taken recently, so you get the quality of that. I haven't seen the renderings. This is actually taken from the lane. This is the south facade. These are the sunshades. They're 5 feet. Window washing, it took us probably about 13 meetings. Maybe 13 is bad, many meetings to actually work how we actually clean this building. With all these things that come out, it's very difficult to window wash. So we had endless meetings on how to do that. There's ropes, designed so ropes will drop through there. It will take the load. These are designed so it can take a man load. Somebody can walk on them. Once again, the cantilever is 5 feet outside the building. This is stuff we've never ever dreamed of doing. This is looking up Georgia Street. You get the Sky Garden. Oh, I guess it's the screen. It's not really wavy like that. You can get the different facades, the fretted glass. They're now putting up glass. They had shipped the glass prematurely, and they're going to put the glass rings in later. This is the corner of the V columns, the Sky Garden. Once again, if you walk down here, this thing's immense. I've been up in here. It's quite an experience to stand out there and have traffic go underneath you. And these things are what they call pods. And as I said, they're actually meeting rooms. So Telus will actually have their meeting rooms out there. So you'll be sitting out in this glass box having a meeting. I don't think actually it's going to get a lot of work done. But, and frankly, if you're scared of heights, as I am, it's a little intimidating. Another view of the way that this bar penetrates and the cantilevers over the street. This is Northwest Sky Garden. Once again, we had fun with cantilevers and encroachment. Northwest Sky Garden actually encroaches over Georgia Street slightly, and encroaches over our property a little bit over the plaza. It sticks outside the envelope, and there's this 3-story glass facade out of structural glass there. This is all the stuff that goes into the slab. And it's also not only reinforcing, but they put conduit in. We have the in-slab radiant heating. It's PT as well because we're fascinated with cantilevers. This is when you look down at this thing, it's just like you wonder how there's enough concrete in there to actually do any work. It's amazing. When we first sat down with the trades to go through this, everybody said, well, it's not going to work. There's too much stuff. And that was the first meeting. Everybody left in a huff. And then we're now on the 20th floor. And apparently it does work. And we did fit everything in. So it don't actually work. This is a typical floor. So you got to get your mind around the raised floor, that everything's not up here, it's down here, and you're walking over it. And so that's all the piping below the floor. And then we pressurize that plenum, and that's how we get ventilation here. The other really interesting is a lot of it's plug and play, like the electronics of it. You lift off the tile, there are nodes that you can plug into. You don't need an electrician. You can move things around where receptacles are on data ports. You can also move diffusers around to whatever you want. That's from, I guess, Seymour, looking at the building. You can get the bar there in the existing Telus building. And that's it. Thank you.